In a quiet village surrounded by lush hills and flowing rivers, there lived a boy named Leo. Leo was known far and wide as the laziest person in the village. While other boys worked in the fields or helped their families, Leo spent his days napping under trees, staring at the clouds, or lounging by the riverbank. He had no ambitions, no responsibilities, and no intention of changing his ways. "Why should I work hard when life is so comfortable like this?" Leo would say to anyone who questioned him. The villagers often shook their heads in disappointment. "Leo, you're wasting your life," they'd tell him. "One day, you'll regret all the time you've let slip by." But Leo only laughed. "I have plenty of time," he'd reply, shrugging off their concerns. One day, while wandering aimlessly through the forest, Leo stumbled upon an old, rickety house he'd never seen before. Curious, he stepped inside. The house was filled with clocks of all shapes and sizes. Their ticking filled the air, creating a strange, rhythmic symphony. At the center of the room sat an elderly man with a long white beard, working on a clock with delicate precision. "Who are you?" Leo asked. The man looked up and smiled. "I am the clockmaker," he said. "I create and repair the clocks of life." Leo chuckled. "Clocks of life? That sounds silly. Why would anyone care about clocks when they can just enjoy the day?" The clockmaker studied Leo carefully. "You seem to have no understanding of time, young man," he said. "Tell me, what do you do with your days?" Leo shrugged. "Nothing much. I eat, I nap, and I wait for the next day. Life is easy, so why bother with anything else?" The clockmaker's smile faded. "I see," he said. "Perhaps you need to understand the true value of time. Would you like me to show you?" Leo, thinking it would be a harmless distraction, nodded. "Why not? I have all the time in the world." The clockmaker led Leo to a large, golden hourglass in the corner of the room. Its glass chambers were filled with glowing, shimmering sand. The sand flowed steadily from the top chamber to the bottom, and the sight of it was mesmerizing. "This," the clockmaker explained, "is your life's hourglass. Each grain of sand represents a moment of your time. Once it falls, it can never be returned." Leo scoffed. "That's just a fancy way of saying time passes. I already know that." The clockmaker shook his head. "You don't truly understand. But you will. Watch closely." Suddenly, the hourglass began to glow brighter. The room spun, and Leo felt as though he were being pulled into the hourglass itself. When the spinning stopped, he found himself standing in a strange place, a vast, empty plain stretching as far as the eye could see. In the middle of the plain stood a giant, stone clock tower. Its hands moved erratically, sometimes speeding up, sometimes slowing down. "What is this place?" Leo asked. "This is the realm of time," the clockmaker's voice echoed around him. "And now, you will see the life you are building, moment by moment." As Leo watched, scenes from his life began to appear around him, as if projected on invisible screens. He saw himself as a child, playing by the river, carefree and happy. Then he saw himself as a teenager, ignoring his parents' advice and spending hours doing nothing while his friends worked hard to learn and grow. The scenes fast-forwarded. Leo saw himself in his 20s, still living the same way, lazy, aimless, and indifferent. He watched as his friends moved on, building lives, families, and careers, while he remained stuck in the same place. The images became darker. He saw his parents growing old, their hair turning gray. He saw his mother calling out to him for help with chores, only for him to wave her off, too lazy to get up. He saw his father struggling to repair the house alone, his body weakened by age. Tears filled Leo's eyes. "Stop. I don't want to see this." But the clockmaker's voice echoed again. "Time does not stop, Leo. It keeps moving, whether you use it wisely or waste it." Watch. The scenes continued. Leo saw himself in his 30s, sitting alone in the same village while others had left to pursue dreams. He saw his parents' funeral, attended by a small crowd. He saw himself in his 40s, his body heavier from years of idleness, his mind filled with regrets. Finally, he saw himself as an old man, sitting alone in a small, crumbling house. The hourglass of his life was nearly empty, and he had nothing to show for the years that had passed. "Why are you showing me this?" Leo cried, falling to his knees. "I didn't know it would end like this." The clockmaker's voice softened. "This is the path you are on, Leo. But it is not too late to change it. The power of time is in your hands, it is up to you to use it wisely." Leo woke with a start, back in the clockmaker's house. The golden hourglass stood before him, its sand flowing steadily. "Was it all a dream?" he asked. The clockmaker smiled. "The vision you saw was one possibility, a future shaped by how you are using your time now. But remember, the future is not set in stone. Every moment is a chance to choose differently." Leo stood in silence, staring at the hourglass. For the first time in his life, he felt the weight of time, how precious it was, how quickly it slipped away. "I don't want to waste it anymore," he said finally. "I want to change." The clockmaker nodded. "Then go. Make the most of your moments. And remember, time waits for no one." From that day forward, Leo was a changed person. He woke early each morning, helping his parents and learning new skills. He began working in the fields, growing crops and earning respect from the villagers who had once mocked him. Leo set goals for himself, small at first, then larger as his confidence grew. He read books, learned from elders, and discovered talents he never knew he had. Years later, Leo became a leader in the village, inspiring others to value their time and pursue their dreams. People no longer called him lazy, they called him wise. And though the golden hourglass remained in the clockmaker's house, Leo no longer needed to see it. He carried its lesson in his heart: every grain of sand is a gift. Use it well. Time is the most valuable resource we have. It flows steadily, regardless of how we choose to spend it. Wasting time may feel harmless in the moment, but its consequences shape our future. Every second is a chance to create, grow, and live meaningfully. Don't wait until it's too late to realize the power of time. Start now.